This video is prepared to explain how MANUSpostdeveloper works in background. When you finish watching it, you will have an idea of how APTCL file is interpreted and how an NC program is generated afterwards. Here are the basic elements that form the main structure of our post editor. Operation, event, action, command, word, and variable. These are listed from the biggest to the smallest. However, small doesn't mean it is unimportant. You can think of that, variable is the DNA of the cell, and operation is the whole body. We will go into deeper with these items now. MANUSpostdeveloper takes the APTCL, or similar outputs from 21 different CAM systems. Some CAM programs like MasterCam, Hypermill, and PowerMill generate toolpath files that are in different formats, however we will name all these outputs as APTCL. The first thing MANUSpostdeveloper does is to read and interpret this APTCL file. Then it converts this information to meaningful items we've just talked about. As a first step, MANUSpostdeveloper finds all operations defined in the APTCL. There can be a single operation, or there can be many. Then, the developer identifies the types of all these operations. As the next step, MANUSpostdeveloper, one by one, takes each line in APTCL to read and interpret them. For instance, let's take a linear motion line. As you remember, MANUSpostdeveloper has already determined the operation and its type, to which this line belongs, in the previous step. This linear motion in the APTCL triggers an operation and an event. In addition, the amounts of movements in this linear motion are assigned to different axis variables predefined in the software. The most commonly used axis variables are coordinate x, y, z, rotary axis 1 and rotary axis 2. Motion type, G0 or G1, is also determined and stored in a variable called command type. Feed rate is also stored in another variable, named as feed rate value. Later, all these variables are used to form words. And all these words are used inside commands. Commands are formed with these words, and also manually written strings. Keep in mind that these commands form the NC lines at the end. All other APTCL lines are interpreted in a similar way. Some lines trigger a circular motion event, some trigger a drilling cycle event, and some trigger operation start. To see the complete list of all the events, please look at our help page. And all the information inside these APTCL lines are stored in separate predefined variables of MANUSpostdeveloper. As in the case of linear motion, all these variables are used to form words, and these words are used inside commands. In this way, the contents of all commands are filled, and then the commands become ready to use. Let's go back to previous step. You remember that I've said, linear motions in APTCL triggers the linear motion event in an operation. Then what happens? The linear motion event triggers its action linear motion. All events have their own actions. Note that, an event not only triggers its predefined action, but also may trigger a script or a general use action as well. A script is like an action you've defined on your own. After a predefined action is triggered, this action calls its related command. In our case, action linear motion calls either format motion linear, format motion rapid, or any other command in the linear motion command list. Which linear motion command will be called is determined by several factors. You can understand some of these factors by looking at the names of the commands. For others, you can look at the command descriptions given on our help page. Like action linear motion, all actions call their own commands. You remember that we have already formed the inside of all commands using strings and words that we have created using variables. Now we have everything we need to form an NC line. APTCL file is interpreted, and all operations and their types are determined at the beginning. An APTCL line triggers an event of an operation. This event calls an action. And this action calls its command. On the other side, all the information in APTCL are stored in separate predefined variables. These variables are used to form words. And words are used inside commands. Command is the last step. What you've written in a command will be directly displayed in the NC program output. Please watch the video, MANUSpostdeveloper interface, To learn more about how to use MANUSpostdeveloper basic elements we have discussed.